Today, we're digging into the ideas from the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. And really, it's a guide for thinking through two of the biggest questions we all face in life.
First, you've got the external question, the one we're all sort of programmed to chase. How do you get rich in a way that's actually a system, not just a lottery ticket?
And then there's the internal question, maybe the most important one of all. After you've chased everything, how do you find a way to just be happy?
Well, Naval Ravikant, who's a massively successful entrepreneur and investor, has this pretty wild idea. He says these aren't just random luck. He truly believes that both wealth and happiness are skills that you can actually learn. So let's break down his playbook, starting with the very foundation of his thinking.
It all kicks off when you realize that, whether you know it or not, you're playing a game. Naval says there are really only two games happening in life, and the most important decision you'll make is figuring out which one you're actually playing.
So on one hand, you've got the status game. This is all about where you rank in the pecking order. It's a zero-sum game, which means for you to move up, someone else has to move down. It's built on conflict. But then there's the wealth game. This one is positive sum. We can all build new things, create new value, and make the whole pie bigger for everyone. A lot of the anger you see directed at wealth isn't really about wealth at all. It's just people playing the status game.
So what is wealth in this game then? Naval's definition is super specific, and it's key. It's not a giant pile of cash. Wealth is having assets that are making money for you, even when you're sleeping. It's the businesses, the software, the investments that are working 24/7. That is the real engine of freedom.
Money, on the other hand, is just a vehicle. It's how we move time and wealth around. Think of it like a social IOU. It's a little credit society gives you for work you did in the past. And here's the trap most people fall into. They just collect the IOUs. The real goal is to use those IOUs to build or buy an engine that creates more value. It's about turning money into actual wealth.
Okay, so if wealth is a skill, then like any other skill, you can break it down and learn it. Naval gives us a really clear framework for this, and it all starts with one rule you just can't ignore.
This is it. This is the absolute core of it all. You are not going to get rich by selling your time. It doesn't matter how high your salary is, your income is always capped by the hours in a day. Real wealth, the kind that gives you freedom, only comes from ownership, from owning equity, a piece of a business.
And to build that equity, you need what Naval calls the 3 pillars. Think of it like a stool with 3 legs. You take one away, and the whole thing just tips over. And those are specific knowledge, accountability, and leverage.
All right, first pillar, specific knowledge. Now, this isn't what you learn from a textbook. It's that unique thing that you're naturally curious about. It's the stuff that feels like play to you, but looks like work to everybody else. That is your superpower, because no one can teach it to you, and it can't be easily automated.
Next up is accountability. This is about putting your name out there and taking risks. It's about having real skin in the game. When you own your mistakes, you build trust. And when you own your successes, you build a reputation. And it's that reputation that society ultimately rewards with the good stuff, equity and leverage.
And the final pillar, leverage, is what multiplies all your effort. For a long time, leverage was one of two things: labor, meaning people working for you, or capital, meaning money you invest. But for both of those, you need somebody to give you permission. The real revolution today is a new kind of leverage. It's permissionless.
And this is the secret weapon of the newly rich: code and media. Anybody, anywhere, with a computer can write a piece of software or create a piece of media that works for them while they're sleeping. You don't need anyone's approval, and it costs almost nothing to make copies. This is the great equalizer in the wealth game today.
So, building wealth. That's the external game. But as Naval is quick to point out, it's only half the story. Now we have to turn inward and focus on the other skill, the internal game of learning to be happy. Naval's definition of happiness is, well, it's pretty mind-bending. He says it's not something you get, it's something you uncover. It's the default state you return to when you remove the feeling that something is missing from your life. Happiness is peace.
So what's stealing that peace? Desire. This quote is just so powerful. Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. Just think about that for a second. Every time you want something, you are willingly signing up for unhappiness. The goal isn't to have zero desires, but to be incredibly careful about the ones you choose.
So how do you actually do this? How do you get back to that peaceful default state? Naval treats it just like physical fitness. You have to build the right habits. Things like meditation, getting outside, working out, cutting out sugar, these aren't just trendy wellness tips. They are about managing your own internal state. And the same thing goes for what you consume mentally, like social media, and who you choose to have around you.
We've got the skill of wealth, and we've got the skill of happiness. Now it's time to bring them together. Because when you can master both the outside game and the inside game, you get the ultimate prize, real freedom.
And Naval makes a really important distinction here. He says when he was young, he was chasing freedom too. The freedom to buy things, to go places, to do whatever he wanted. But what he realized over time is that the real prize is freedom from. Freedom from getting angry in traffic, freedom from feeling jealous, freedom from that voice in your head that causes you stress. That is the ultimate win.
The path to this kind of freedom, both outside and inside, it's all built on a single idea: radical responsibility. This quote says it all. No one else is coming to do the work for you. In the end, you have to save yourself.
And that idea of radical responsibility leads to this really stark, but also incredibly liberating conclusion. Life is a single-player game. You were born alone, you're going to die alone. Every single thing you experience is filtered through your own mind alone. And when you really truly get that, the only person you're competing against is yourself. The only scorecard that matters is yours.
Which brings us to a final, powerful idea that Naval often shares, and it comes from Confucius. You have two lives. Your second one begins when you realize you only have one. The entire almanac, really, is a manual for having that realization. It's a wake-up call to take full responsibility and start playing the games that actually matter. So the real question isn't just for philosophers, it's for you. When is your second life going to begin?